Hello everyone, I'm Frank and welcome to Learn How to Sudoku, where we take a very easy variant Sudoku puzzle and we break it down in detail so that you can learn how to Sudoku. Today's very easy puzzle is called Pointing and Whispering by Bellamy or Bellamus, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Here are the rules. We have normal Sudoku rules apply, which means fill the entire grid with the digits 1 through 9 such that there are no repeats in any row, column, or designated 9-cell region or box. We have fog, where the grid is partially covered in fog. Correctly placed digits will clear the fog around that cell, and no guessing is required. So if you place the correct digit, say in this cell, it would clear the fog in that cell and in the surrounding 8 cells around it. And that's how fog of war works. We have crop key, where digits and cells separated by a black dot have a 1:2 ratio. So if there was, say, a black dot here and we knew this was a 4, this would have to be a 2 or an 8 to maintain the 1:2 ratio between them. We have German whispers, where adjacent digits along a green line have a difference of at least 5. So for example, if this were a 3, this would have to be an 8 or a 9, because those are the only digits that are 5 or more away from 3. And we have each end of a whisper line points toward a cell. The digit at each end of a whisper line is placed n cells away from the other end in the pointed direction, where n is the digit at the other end of the line. Okay, the digit at each end of a whisper line is placed n cells away from the other end in the pointed direction. So I guess this is the pointed direction, where n is the digit at the other end of the line. Whisper lines may not branch or fork. Okay. Each end of a whisper line, so there's a whisper line, points towards a cell. So it points towards a cell. The digit at each end of whisper line is placed n cells away from the other end in the pointed direction. Okay, I'm not understanding this. Hold on. Let me pause this to check the post. Okay, I think I saw an example, and I think I understand. The way that they did this was he had an example like this, and he had essentially this was a 1, this was a 3, and this was a 9. And he had essentially this was basically so the end of each whisper line points toward a cell. So this points toward that, and this points towards a cell along this line here. The digit at each end of the whisper line is placed n cells away from the other end. So since this is a 1, it's placed n cells away from the other end of the line. So this would be 3 away from this cell, right? So this 1 would be placed 3 away from this end of the line. So this would have to be 1. And this 3 is placed 1 cell away from this end of the line. So this would have to be 3. So this was the example that was given. And I think I understand. So each end of the whisper line, so you have essentially this, we're assuming that this is the whisper line, but obviously we don't know if that's the case. But the digit, so say that this digit here has to be placed on the target, at the pointed at cell, right? And that pointed at cell is going to be n distance away from the end of the line. And that's dependent on, and the n is going to be whatever that digit is. So this 1 has to appear a certain amount of digits away at the end of the line. And we have specifically this is 1, 9, and 3. So that's saying that the 1 has to be 3 away from the end of this line. So therefore, this would be a 1. And this 3 has to be n away, which is 1 away from the end of this line. So this would have to be 3 there. And whisper lines may not branch or fork. So this is an example of how each end of the whisper line points toward a cell works. And those are all the rules. If you like to play along, I hope that was clear because it wasn't clear to me to start with, but after seeing the example, it made a lot more sense, I think, to me. I think it was just that I wasn't processing it particularly well. The way that it's read, also the way that it's read is kind of confusing, but I get it once I actually saw the example. So again, this digit has to appear n digits away from the end of the rest of the line, right? And the n is the digit that's on the other side of this line, right? So this 1 has to appear some distance away from the end of the line, at the end of the line, and it's based off of what this digit is, which is 3, right? So this would be 1, 2, and 3 away from the end of the line, and this 3 also has to follow the same format, right? It has to appear at the end, the way that the line is pointed at, a certain distance away from the end of the line, and that's dependent on what that variable is here. And so this would be 1, that would be 3. And that's the example that was given. Anyways, those are all the rules. If you'd like to play along, there's going to be a link in the description. And now, I'm going to get started. Let's learn how to Sudoku. Okay. So because of that example, we know this can only go one cell this way. So this has to be a 1. And it's actually, lo and behold, it's a similar example here. So whatever this digit is, this is 1. It has to be, on a German whisper line, it has to be 5 or more away from this digit. But this digit has 2 digits that it has to be 5 or more away from. So this must be 7, 8, or 9. And this must be 2, 3, or 4. So the 1 in row 3 has to be 2, 3, or 4 away from the end of the line. And this must be a 2, 3, or 4 because this is the digit that is 1 away from the end of this German whisper line. Okay. This cannot obviously be 1. It could be 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 because the digit on the other end of the line would have to be 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 away. And it cannot be 5 because 5 can never be on a German whisper line. So this is a low, this is a high, this is a low, therefore this is low. This is 2, 3, 4, or 6. What else do we know? This is the same digit as that. Obviously, it can't just end here, so it probably has to go to somewhere like this. So if this were 6, it would have to be next to a 1 on a German whisper line, but it cannot be, so this cannot be 6. This is specifically a low. This is high, then. It's next to 2 unique digits, and one of them cannot be 1, so this is 8 or 9 here. This has to be low also, and therefore it has to be 2, 3, or 4. Well, we have a 2, 3, 4 quadruplet in this upper right-hand box. So that upper right-hand box cannot contain 2, 3, or 4. So this has to be, the remaining digits are 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in row 1. We don't know where the other end of this German whisper line is. It's probably going that way, but we're not sure. So this could be 2 digits here. This digit is the same as this. These have to be 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 as possibilities. One of these digits is a 4. So that means one of these digits has to be a 9 to be next to the 4. So then there cannot be another 9 in that box. One has to be one of these 3 digits. One is one of these 5, but we're not sure which. If this were a 4, that means 1 would have to be here. So the 1 would have to be one of these 2 here, which is possible. This would be 2, 3, 2, 3. This would be 9, so this would be 8. This would be 4, obviously, if that were the case. What other possibilities? If this is not 4, this is 1 in one of these spaces. So the 1 could actually be at the end of this line. We're not sure, right? We know this is 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4 because it goes low digit, high digit, low digit. And okay, the reason why we know that is what are digits that can be next to 1 through 4? 1 can be next to 6 through 9, 2 can be next to 7 through 9, 3 can be next to 8 or 9, and 4 can only be next to 9. So if you have a digit that's 1 through 4, you'll have a digit next to it it has to be 6 through 9, and vice versa. It works the other way too. So 9 has to be one of these 2. So 4 is either here, or 4 is one of these 2, which means 9 has to be one of these 2. If this is 4, 9, this is 2, 3, 2, 3, 8. Yeah, we don't know how long this line. So this almost okay. No, this line cannot continue on further here. Right? Because it just can't there's no way that this can form another. Well, first of all, okay. If this is the end of the German whisper line, it points to nothing, which breaks the rules. So it has to basically turn. So this has to be a high digit also. And it cannot be 5 or 6. It has to be 7 or 8. 7 or 8 cannot be 4. So this can't be 4 here. And if this line were to continue this way, the problem is none of these digits are 5 or more away from 7 or 8. So it cannot continue here. So we know this has to be the end of the line. So it has to specifically go that way, and that's it. We have a 7, 8, 9 triplet in that box, which eliminates 7, 8, and 9 in the rest of the box. This digit could be 3, or it has to be 2. 4 is one of these 2 digits here. If this were 1, sorry, this is 4, 9. This has to be 2, 3, 8, and this is 2, 3. Which means 7 would be 2 or 3 away from that digit. So this would have to be a 1, 7 pair if that's the case. This would be 8. Okay, so then what would this be? Again, if this is 4, this is 9. This has to be 1. This is a 2, 3, 2, 3 pair, which forces this to be 8, which makes this a 7. 7 can only be next to 2 out of 2 and 3, so this would be 2, this would be 3, so 7 would be 3 away from the end. And 3 would have to be, oh, this can't be 8 ever. If this is 8, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which is off the grid. So this has to be 7 here, which means this has to be 2. So this has to be 2, this has to be 7. Okay. None of these can be 2 then. This has to be a 3, 4 pair, which makes this an 8, 9 pair here. So 1 cannot be here. 1 has to be 3 or 4 away from the end. This 7, okay, so this is in a 1-2 ratio, and it can't be 5. 5 is in a 1-2 ratio with 2.5, which is not a digit. And if you double 5, you get 10, which is not a digit. So this must be 6, which makes this a 3. This 6 eliminates 6 here, so it's a 5. Whatever digit is here has to be 7 away from the end of this line. Well, if we tried to have it be 3, that would be 7 away here, and there would be another 3 on the column. So this can't be 3. This has to be 4, which makes this 3. This is then a 3. This 1 has to be 3 away from this 1, from this end. So this must be 1, which means this can't be 1. This 7 has to be 4 away from the end of this line. So this is 7, which means none of these can be 7. This has to be 9 to be next to the 4. This is an 8 to be next to the 3. And this must be a 4 to be 7 away from the end of this line. This cannot be 1, 2, or 4, 8 because of the 1 and 8 in the row. So it can't be 3, 6, so this must be a 2, 4 pair, which leaves this as a 5 or 9, and these are 5, 7, and 9 because of the 2, 4 pair in the box, or actually in the row. This can never have a 5 on the German whisper line. And if this were 6, it would be next to 2 unique digits on German whisper line, so this can't be 6. The remaining digits here are 1, 5, 6, and oh, this can't be 9 because of the 9 in the row. So this is 1, 5, 6, or 8 here, but these can't be 1. So 5 has to be one of these 2 digits in row 1 because 5 can never be on a German whisper line. Because if you have a 5 on a German whisper line, subtract 5 or more from that, you get 0 or less, which is not a normal Sudoku digit. And you add 5 or more to the 5, which is 10 or more, which is not a digit. So 5 has to be one of these 2 digits, which means 5 cannot be here. Whereas the 5 in row 3, it must be here. So this is a 5. Here we have a German whisper line, which is 4 digits in length. Therefore, it must be 2 high digits, which are digits from 6 through 9, and 2 low digits, which must be the digits 1 through 4. Well, the low digits have to be 1 and 3 because we have a 2, 4 pair already in the box. So this has to be a 3 here, and 1 has to be one of these 2, but we already knew 1 was one of those 2. This can no longer be 6 because it's next to 2 unique digits on a German whisper line, and 6 can only be next to 1 unique digit on the German whisper line, which is 1. So this is a 1-8 pair, which eliminates 1 and 8 in the rest of the row. That forces this to be 4, 5, 6 pair. 8 can be next to 3, 1 can be next to 6 or 9. We don't know which, and this is a 6 or 9. That leaves in row 2, what are the remaining digits? We have 2, 4, and 8. 9 can never be at the end of a German whisper line because you cannot get 9 distance away from the end of a German whisper line. So this must be a 3, 6 pair, which eliminates 3 and 6 in the rest of the box. So this is 9. You have something that's 3 away and something that's 6 away from the end of these German whisper line. If this was 3 away, this would be, so say this was 3 here. That means a 6 would have to be 3 away from here. So it'd be 1, 2, 3. So this would be 6. So one of these 2 is a 6 here. And the 3 has to be 6 away from the end. So it'd be 1, 2, 3. Okay, this digit also must be, yep, at most, it has to be 2 or 3 away from here. So this is a 2 or 3, which means this is a low. So since this is a low, it has to be next to a high. This is then, it cannot be 6 because if it were 6, it would have to be next to a 1 on a German whisper line. So this is 7, 8, or 9. Therefore, where is this can never be 3 away from the end of this line. This has to be 6 away from the end of the line, which makes this 1, which makes that 8, which makes that 3. So this 3 away from the end of this line is a 6, so that's a 6. This is 2 or 3. We don't know what the end of this line is. This is a low because it's next to a high digit. These are high digits, and these are low digits. These are both low. This is a low, and it's next. It could be 2, 3, or 4, because you could possibly have 9 here and 9 here. We don't know. This digit is next to 2 unique digits, and one of them cannot be 1, so 7 cannot be here. This is 8 or 9. This is a high digit because it's next to a low digit on a German whispered line, so this is 7 or 9. We don't know where this line ends. This is 2 or 3. Huh. So it must continue somewhere else, but we don't know how it continues. 3 means this has to be 3. This can't be 3 here, so this has to be a 2. This is a low, this is a high, these are highs, this is a low. This means this can't be 2, so the end of this line must be a 6 somewhere. It's probably can't be there. It could be something like that, I guess. What are the remaining digits in column 9? We have 1, 5, 8, and 9. This cannot be 3 and 6 to be a pair. It could be 2, 4, 1, 4, 1, 2, or 4, 8, but 2 cannot be here. Therefore, 1 can't be here. If this were 1, that would force this to be 2, which is not possible. This cannot be a 7. It's next to a 3 or a 4 on a German whisper line, and 7 can never be next to 3 or 4. It can only be next to 1 or 2. So this must be a 9. And we see what this is. This then has to be a low. This has to be a high, and we know it's 6 because that's 2 away from the end of this German whisper line. So this is 6. This is 1. 6 away is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 is 6 away from the end of this German whisper line. Therefore, where is the 9 in column 1? Can't be here because of the 9 in the box. Can't be any of the filled in areas. Can't be low. It must be a 9 here. So this cannot be 9 here. This is the end of a German whisper line, and it can only be 1, 2, or 3. Can't be 1 because of the 1. So this must be a 2 or 3 on this German whisper to point that way. We also know the remaining digits in column 1 are 3, 4, 7, and 8. This has to be a high, and it's next to a 2 or 3, so it must at least be 7, 8, or 9. We don't know where it goes, though. So it could be something else. If it's 2, it's a 1. This can't be 1 because of the 1 in the row. This is a low, this is high, and high. Remaining digits in column 2 are 2, 4, 5, and 7. Well, this can't be 2. This is 4, 5, 7, 4, 5, 7. And this is 2, 4, 5, 7, but it can't be 4 because of the 4 in the row. This can't be 4 either. We have a 7, 8 being here, so this can't be 7 either. One of these 2 is a 7. Not sure how this German whisper line looks. Let's see. Remaining digits in this box. you can have 2, 3, 4, 5, but no 7, 8, because this has to be a 7, 8 in these sets. So this can't be 4 because of the 4 here. Hmm. 8 must be one of these 3 digits. This can't be 9 because of a 9 in the row. Oof. Remaining digits in column 7, we have 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, but this can't be 9. This can't be 2 because of the 2 in the row. Can't be 6 or 9 because of the 6 or 9 in the row. Can't be 6 or 9 because of the 6 or 9 here. Hmm. Rest of column 8 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 7. 3 cannot be any of these cells here because of the 3 in the box. 4 cannot be any of these cells here because of the 4 in the box. This can't be 1 because of that 1. This can't be 2 because of that 2. This can't be 6 because of that 6. This can't be 6 because of that 6. Interesting. Hmm. Hmm. The remaining digits in column 3 are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 8. This obviously 2 can't be here. 3 can't be here because of a 3 in the row. Yeesh. I'm not sure what other pointing we have. Well, obviously it can't point down. But it could continue like this, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure I want to like think that much through there. Um, I don't know if I would consider this very easy. This actually requires a lot of logic to think of these things through. Um, hmm. If this was 3, it would have to be next to 8 or 9. Hmm. It would be that digit would have to be the end of this German whisper line, but we don't know where the end of this German whisper line is. It cannot just end here because that would be 7, 8, or 9 away. So it does have to go somewhere. It cannot just go here unless it goes something like that. Well, let's say it did go that way, right? I guess it could be like that. That's possible. The problem is that there's a lot of fog that it can go through, right? Um, hmm. Huh. Um, I'm not sure what this fog of war could go through. We do have that. could be 1, could be 3, 4. It's unlikely to be 7 or 8. In fact, 8 is very difficult for it to be, right? I'm saying at the end point of this German of this whisper line, right? So what could it be? Yeah, this is not very easy. So I don't know why people are classifying this as very easy. This is a lot of involved knowledge, a lot of involved thought process, and you still don't have like you're very limited. I mean, you're not very limited in what you can have in certain areas, right? Well, let's look at maybe we can figure things out from normal Sudoku. Not really. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, and we don't really have a restriction on where this German whisper line can go, right? I mean, obviously couldn't do something like that because that would be very difficult for it to actually work. Let's see. N digits at the end of the other end of the line. Okay. Obviously, if this is 2, this has to be 1. So the question is, where could it be if it's this is a 2, right? If this is 2, this is 1. 2 would have to be one of these digits. So it could do, well, can't do that. It can't do something like this. But it could do something like that, potentially, and then this could be 2. And this would be 1. And that, oh, but this can't be 1 here. So no, it cannot do that. Where could it be then? Well, we know 2 would be one of these two. It could be something like, well, it can't go here. It could go something like that, maybe? And then this would be 1, and this would be a 2 here. And that could be possible. Or it could do something. This is, I don't know. It seems kind of, I don't know, stupid. Anyways, this could be 1 here. Well, what happens if it goes this way? If this is 2, well, it doesn't have to go that way. It could go something like... That's the problem. This is very broad and not very restrictive. So it could do something like that, where 1 is here, and then this is 2, and this could be a 2-4 pair. Um, maybe fill in the rest of column 5. Well, you can't have a 2 anywhere there, right? Because if you had a 2, that would force this to be a 4-8 pair, and that would eliminate 2 here, but that would have too many 4 2s there, right? So 2 in column 6 has to be either here or here. The rest of column 6 can be 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Obviously, 6 and 9 cannot be here. 4 can't be here. 1 can't be here. Oh, that's interesting. Huh. Interesting. Well, that does tell us some information. It can't just go there, right? If it tried going here, well, if it goes here, it has to, I don't even know how it would go. Like that, then that? This would then be 9, 4. Something, and then I guess 2? But then the 3 would not be possible to go this way, so I guess it couldn't just stay here. So if it went this way, this is obviously a 4. It would have to go like that, that, and maybe that. Well, then this is not low, high, low. This would be, I don't know, maybe like that. But then this would never be a 2 or 3. So it could be 4, 9, 9. Go like that. I mean, yeah, we don't have, like, the problem is this isn't very restrictive, I don't think. Even looking at this, where you have only a possibility of a low of 4, that's still possible. Looking at this, right? You could go 4, 9 to something like that, which would make this 2, so this would be 3. So if it went something like this, this would be 2 because it can't be anything else. This would be 9, 4, 9. This would be 3. So 3 away. We could have, you can't really have a 7 or 8 there, but this would have to be 7 or 8. So maybe, yeah, we've shown that it's really hard. Like, I don't even know. You have to have 7 along a diagonal or 7 along there, and this just doesn't work that way, right? Yeah, it's just hard to get 7 along a diagonal unless it's like one of the corners, or if it has to be 7 that way. Oh, in fact, I don't think you can ever have a 7. Yeah, you can't ever have an 8 or 9 be the end. Because you can't get it pointing another direction unless you have 2 in length, right? So if you had it pointing, that goes 7 at most, right? So what's actually there can only be 7 at most. On the other end, if this is 3, then it likely has to be it has to be pointing at a 4. If it's 2, it's pointing obviously it's pointing to a 1. Jeez. 3 and 7. You could have something like this, and that would be valid, right? 3, 7. This is 8 or 9. This is 1, and then this is 7. Wait, no, but it would be pointing to itself, so it cannot do something like that. Can you actually have a 7 then? So if this is 3, it's almost certainly a 4 there then. You can't have 8 because, as we showed, to point you need two cells going in a certain direction, which means that it necessarily can only go 7 at most. So, and if we tried to have a 7 here, and this is 3, we tried going this way, but the problem, that would work if with the 3 being there, but the problem is the 7s would see each other. And so then the problem is you can't find another 7 going this way or this way or this way. It has to be like pointing that way, essentially. You could have a 2 though. 2 works very well with 1. So 3 would have to work with 4. So if this was 3, this would have to be 4. So 4 could not be here. So it would have to go one of these directions here. It would have to point to another 3 somewhere. That's 4 away. So 3, 1, 4 away. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if it ended here, it could work potentially. So 4, 9, 1, whatever, and 3. And that does work. So that's not very limiting. Ugh. Ugh. How is this very easy? What are people thinking to make this that makes this very easy? If this is 2, this is 1, so there has to be a 1 somewhere. But I mean, as I showed, you could have something like that. So 3's here, 4's here. Okay, can't go here, but it could be something like that, right? Something like this. So this would be 3, this is 4, this is... 4 can't be here if this is not... Okay. Well, then it could still be something like that. Well, then that would point that way, so that wouldn't work. Okay, so can it be 3 and 4 is kind of the question. If this is 3 and this is 4... well, no, this would be 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this would be 4, this would be 9, and that does actually work, pointing that way. So that's a valid example. So 1, 2, 3, 4 is that 3, right? That works. And then 2 and 1, there's many examples probably of the 2 and 1s working. How is this very easy? I don't know what people are thinking here. This is not a very easy problem. There's a lot involved. Oh, that's why. Okay. 6, okay, well, 6 away from, I forgot about this part. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 away from this end is a 3. So this is a 3, which makes that a 2. Okay, there you go. That's why it's easy. I forgot about that. This is a 4 because it has to be between 2. That has to be a low digit. This is a low. So the rest of these are high. My bad. Apologies. That's what makes it easy. If you miss that, it's gonna be painful. This is a 2. This is high. This is a low. It has to be a 1 because what's 2 away from this end? It has to be 1, so this must be a 2 because that's 1 away from this end. Therefore, this can't be 2. Therefore, it can't be 1 and 2. It becomes a 4-8 pair, which eliminates 4 and 8 from the rest of the column. So this can't be 4 or 8. This is 2. This can't be 2. This can't be 4, 8 here. So that's the reasoning why, right? Why this is very easy, quote unquote. I still don't think it's very easy, but it is easy because I forgot about this part, right? Anyways, this can't be 3 because of the 3 in the box. We have a 2-5 pair in this lower left box, so that eliminates 2 and 5 from the rest of the box. So this is 4. This can't be 2 here. No 2 or 3 here. It's 6 or 7. This is 7, 8, or 9. This 2 cannot be next to a 5, so it has to be next to a 7. This 2 is 1 away from here. What's 2 away from here? This can't be 7. This has to be high. This is low, which makes this low. This is high, and this must be low. So it can only be 1. So this is 1. We already knew that, though, because this is a 4-8 pair. This 7 eliminates 7 here, so it's 9. This is 7. That eliminates 9 here, so it's a 5-6 pair. These two digits have to be in a 1-to-2 ratio. Of 5 and 6, it has to be 6. So this is 6, this is 3 to be in a 1-to-2 ratio with it. This 7 means this can't be 7 here. The 7 eliminates 7 here, so it's 8 and 7. This 6 eliminates 6 here, so it's 5. 5 can no longer be these two. 6 and 7 can't be here. 2 and 5 can't be here. 1 and 2 and 3 can't be here because of the 2-5 pair. This can't be 2 or 3, so this is 1. This can't be 1. This can't be 1. This can't be 2 or 5, so this is 8 or 9. This is 8 or 9, which leaves that digit as a 4. 7 cannot be any of these. 8 eliminates 8 here, so this must be 5. This can't be 5 or 8. It has to be low, so it's 2. This must be high. It could be 7, 8, or 9. This can't be 2 because of the 2 in the column. This 2 eliminates 2 here, so it's 3. None of these could be 1. This can't be 1 because of the 1 in the column and the 1 in the row. So where's the 1 in the right central box? It has to be here. So this is 1, which means 1 cannot be here. Also, 1 has to be 2 away from there, so this must be a 1 here. And is a low. 2 cannot be here. Where is the 2 in column 8? It has to be here. So this is 2. This can't be 4 because of the 4 in the row. This can't be 4. It's a 5-7 pair. That eliminates 5 and 7 in the rest of the column. So this can't be 5. This is 2. This is 5. This 2 eliminates 2 here, so that's 4 and 2. This can't be 4 or 5 because of the 4 and the 5-7 pair in the box. These two are low. We don't need to be coloring those anyways. This is 8 or 9. This 4 eliminates 4 here, so this is 8, which makes this 4. This 8 eliminates 8 here, so this is 9, which makes that 8. 9 eliminates 9 here, so that's 8, which makes that 9. This can't be 8 or 9. This can't be 8, and this can't be 8 here. This can't be 5 or 9, so it must be 8, which eliminates 8 here, so that's 3, which makes that 8. This 8 eliminates 8 here, so this is 4 and 8. Where is the 4 in column 8? It has to be here. So this is 4. And now we just do normal Sudoku. We have, this could be 5, 6, 7, or 9, but it cannot be 9. So it's 5, 6, or 7. We have a 5, 6, 7 triplet in row 6, which eliminates 5, 6, and 7 in the rest of the row. So this can't be 7. This is 9. This can't be 9 then. In column 5, we have the remaining digits are 5, 6, and 9. This cannot be 6 or 9 because of the 6 or 9 in the row, so this is 5, which makes this 6, which makes this 5, and that leaves us as a 9. This 5 eliminates 5 here, so it's 7, which makes this 6, and it makes that 6 and that 7. This 7 and 6 eliminate 7, 6 here, so it's 5, which makes this 7, which makes this a 5. This can't be 5 or 6, so that's 7. And that leaves 3 and 6 remaining. So this is 3 and this is a 6. I don't think this was very easy anyways. It's not that as hard as I was thinking because I didn't forgot about this part. But even without that, there's still like this logic here was not easy. You had to think this thing through, right? About what this rule set means, where you can go here, how far you can go down. It's not very easy. It probably fills the easy set, but anyways. That's my beef though with people thinking Logic Masters Germany. Sometimes they think things are easier than they should be. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Learn How to Sudoku, and I'll see you next time on Frank Puzzles. Take care.